So, welcome, gorgeous souls, to another delicious, delightful episode of Live Your Best Laugh. Today, I have such a wonderful soul with me. We've been having such a gorgeous chat before we hit record. I was like, we best actually start recording. She's so delicious that I had to remind myself to stop chatting. We have the wonderful Monica Bazzani with us today, who is lunar sound and energy. Monica is a gong master practitioner, Yusui and Karuna Reiki master, and Qigong, said it right, teacher, and many other things. And she is just an all round wonderful human who I had the pleasure of meeting. Oh, I'm trying to remember now. Probably last year, wasn't it, my darling? Yeah, I think it was last year. Yeah.
Last year, like in person, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Mm.
properly, like in realness. And I'm so excited to have you on the pod, Monica. Thank you so much for giving us your time, my lovely. Do you want to say like a little hello to everyone and anything
Mm.
about you, my darling?
Well, hello. I'm very honoured to be here. It's so lovely. Like you, I'm just was chatting away and could have quite happily carried on. Always amazing to talk to you. And yeah, feel very honoured to be here. And I think you said it all really. I like playing gongs and doing anything with the word gong in the title. That's
Yeah.
that sums me up.
Yeah, give her a gong and she's happy as. Oh my gosh. And yes, and talking of which, recently, because we're recording this kind of in the autumn 2025, and recently over your grid, I've been seeing you doing like literally gong to die for, where you're out on some kind of lake type thing, right? On, is it airbeds? And
Yeah, on Lilo's.
oh, I mean, how, like, because water and sound,
Mm.
and being out in nature, like and I wasn't going to ask you about this actually, but just because you said about the gong and then that sprung into mind, I was like, how does it, like, tell us about how it feels in that kind of setting? What's so wonderful about it?
Well, I love being outside. Like you, I love being in nature. And I think bringing the sound into the nature is just amazing. And with the water as well. So it's my friend's idea actually. And at first I thought, hmm, how's that going to work? And then I thought, okay, I'm up for anything. Let's do this. And we're so lucky to have this lake on someone's land. So it's a private lake.
Wow.
It's incredible and so beautiful. And so we get to be in this space with the Lilos. And I mean, it is quite amusing because I yeah, my friend actually has a wetsuit on. She's in the water because obviously with the wind you just can get blown away. So you can hold on to a lily pad, or you can tie the rope around the lilas to this lily pad. But sometimes people will just float away, and then it's not massive, but it's big
Yeah.
enough. But you can the sound travels over the water, and also it's really
Wow.
interesting being on the deck with the gongs, and you can see the ripples from the sound in the water and the different shapes. It's incredible. It's amazing. But that brings me so much joy being outside,
Oh,
watching everyone floating around, and we
yeah.
did bring them when we went on a retreat to France as well, actually, and that was a bigger lake, so we had a bit of concern of what's going to happen. So my friend was on a rowing boat, and there was actually a clip of her. I was just, and that's another thing as well. It's that being authentic, because sometimes I do get the giggles when there's like watching my friend in the water, and she's kind of like moving around, and she'll look at me. But my friend in the boat, she was. Came past and she lifted her foot and all this water was dripping out of her shoe and that just set me off, so I was singing at the time like but yeah, it's
Oh,
amazing. It's quite
I
an intensive process of getting everyone in and out, but yeah, it's really
yeah. Yeah, I hope you had some great behind the scenes footage of that from someone, because I love it. And you can bring laughter into everything. So although you were singing, if some laughter came, it's like it's all good, isn't it?
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
joy, but it brings joy up, and yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we were having a little bit of a chat about this before, like joy is realness. I think so often we can um kind of mispackage joy. The joy has to be a certain way. I quite often feminize joy and call her her. Not always, but quite often. And and I think sometimes that it must be quite hard to be her, like that expectations of I have to be this certain way for people to feel fulfilled. And actually, I think the biggest gift you can give yourself and joy is that joy is in the tiniest little things, like you're saying, like your friend, like with her foot with the water cascading down, and that just bringing some light and beautiful energy into something you're already doing, which is beautiful energy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, funny
Yeah,
enough, I was talking to, sorry, go
yeah.
on.
No, you go, my darling. Yeah.
I was saying I was talking to a lady when you're talking about the joy and the laughter about laughter yoga
Mm.
yesterday. I said, "Have you tried laughter yoga?" And she said that when she did it, she was laughing, but then halfway through she was crying, and then she went back to
Mm.
laughing again. So I think it's
Yeah,
what we were saying as well, that that joy can encompass all of those things. It's
absolutely.
can
Yeah.
hold it all in a way.
Yeah, and the thing with laughter and tears is they're very similar energy,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Mm,
And so I think when we allow ourselves to go there through whatever thing, it's like people can be kind of like really in tears, and actually
mm,
that can bring on laughter, and it can happen the other way around where you can be really in laughter and that bring on tears, because they sit around the same thing, although they're different, like different feelings, but they sit around the same kind of level of energy. And it's just all different ways of releasing, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's not judging that one way's right and one way isn't, and actually any way of releasing is just a release, and it's
Yeah.
not judging what that should be, letting go of the control of that.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. I love what you said about like I'm anything with a gong in it. So like anything gong is like super exciting and super like special to you. What is it that was it the sound that came first? And it like and whatever it was that came first with your gongness, like what was it that drew you towards like going into like sharing sound and that kind of thing, what kind of what was it that in your kind of pathway that led you to go, right, this is something I have been looking for and I want to kind of explore?
Mm. That's a really interesting question, because I suppose things find you, don't they,
Yeah.
sometimes?
Yeah.
And I think I've always loved sound. I've always, since I was little, played different instruments, not particularly well, but played them. And Actually, saying that, I shouldn't say that. I played them. That's a judgment, isn't it? Just caught that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I played them to the best of my ability, and I really enjoyed playing instruments. So, and I still play, the guitar, and I used to play the clarinet at school. I've got that somewhere that I'm going to take out at some point and revisit that. So sound has always been a big part of my life. And then I think, you have kids, and saying that, actually, even with kids, what I noticed was when they were little, you suddenly bring out the sound comes back in. So the guitar comes out and
Mm,
you start playing with them. And, even little things like a bottle with bits of rice in, and you shake around, and sound becomes a really important part of our play. It was for
definitely.
us anyway. And
Mm,
yeah, so that kind of started bringing that in more. And and then life takes over, and yeah, certain things were happening where I just felt really disconnected with myself,
mm,
quite in a low space. I felt quite isolated. I would say, I think I was at the point, and I think you only realize these things when you look back, that I was just very shut down, and emotionally within. And I just was at the point where I felt like something has to change. And, when you're just like, I think I actually was flat on the floor at one point, just crying and saying, I surrender.
mm. Yeah.
Just so like, um, and then I just had this thing of like, something has to shift. And then I went to see a lady who she gave me a reading. She did all sorts of things. She looked at my palm, she gave me a reading. And funny enough, she said to me, "You're going to be running workshops and retreats and events." And that was
Wow.
about 6 years ago. And I remember thinking, what? And you're just like, hey. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's great. And then I thought, okay, so it was lovely to hear. And but part of me didn't believe it because,
Yeah.
and so then I thought, okay, what I feel like I was needed to put myself out there. And I think sometimes when you're like this and you're so um it's like you don't have, it feels like you've got nothing left. It's really, you need to sort of be out there for things to come to you. And I think sometimes when you do isolate yourself, it can be hard for things to come in. So it's that process of like,
Mm.
okay, putting yourself out there. So I started learning the Tibetan bowls. I did a course in that and I loved them. They just, the sound, there was something that just, it sort of cut through the sadness, all the stuff I was holding, and just managed to get through and just allowed me to release it gently.
Mm.
And then I did my Reiki masters. Because I revisited Reiki because there's a story around that as well. Um, I shut that off, but I went back to it. It was calling me back. And then I did Reiki drum with my teacher, Sarah Gregg, who's amazing. So when I did that, she had a load of gongs, and I thought, well, they're really nice and pretty. I'd never seen a gong before, but I thought, yeah, not really interested. And I took the brochure home and didn't think anything of it. Finished the course, did a drum journey in the morning. Before I was about to do it, I saw the brochure and I thought, I read it and I thought, you know what, if I'm meant to do this, I trust I'll receive a sign. And I pushed it aside, did the drum journey. And then as soon as I'd finished, she sent me a message saying, a space has come up on this Gong Master Practitioner
Oh
course.
my gosh.
And I just laughed out loud and I thought, I have to say yes. I
Yeah,
just
of
knew I had to
course.
say yes.
Of
And
course.
so
Yeah.
that was it. And then it just, from there, it just felt so, yeah, right. And it was, I mean, I just love it. And the connect, and it's not just the, I mean, I obviously love all the sound, but there's something about the gongs that, yeah, they're just, for me, they're so, they really changed my life. They transformed my life.
Yeah.
They really did. And so I think when you find something so powerful, you want to share it with others. You want to say, hey, look, here's an option. This helped me. It might help you. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, I love that story, and I never knew that from our conversation. So I'm so happy that you shared that, and I so resonate with that thing of things find you.
yeah,
So you sharing, like, I was like, what's she going to share? Because it's going to be some kind of like little like nudge from, come on, it's like literally the place. All right, that's what happened with me with Reiki. I'd set the intention that I wanted to do it, and then suddenly this place came that wasn't going to be available, and I was like, okay, like it's obviously meant to be happening right here,
yeah,
right now, and yeah, I think that thing where if you are kind of opening yourself up, like you said, you were feeling quite closed and you like in this kind of like, oh my gosh, just I'm gonna surrender. And
yeah,
then isn't it funny what can find you?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I think so often we don't particularly know what we're seeking, and I think that's okay. We don't need to know what we're seeking. It's more that thing of like, are we open to seek, you
yes.
know? And then it's like, what will then present itself, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's scary actually being open because I think when it's in a way it's almost easier to keep yourself closed because you can control it and you fit and you have the illusion of safety
Yeah,
but actually what you're for me what I felt I was doing is I wasn't living.
yeah,
I wasn't living a full life because I wasn't allowing myself to feel what I was feeling. I was kind of living, and I think to be fair, I suppose sometimes that happens. It's it needed to be that way for survival, and I think your nervous system is like, okay, let's just be here. Let's just stay in this lane because this is what's needed,
mm,
and that served a purpose, and that was fine. But it just gets to a point where it's just not. It just couldn't have continued in that way, and I think, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, like I think it's so incredible, like how you can end up on the path that you're on, isn't it? You know,
Yes, yeah,
because like you said, 6 years ago, didn't even know what a gong was, and you
yeah,
know, and then and like now, like if you picture you now, like could you imagine not having sound, not having your bowls and gong in your life? You know?
yeah. It's like when I always sort of think like when you have kids or a dog or something, as soon as you have them, you can't imagine life. It's almost like you can't imagine what it was. Well, you know what it was like, but it's like they've always been there. And
Yeah,
I found that with the kids. I found that with my dog. It's like, oh, it's like I can't imagine not having a dog now, or can't imagine not having the kids. And same with the gongs. Can't imagine not having the gongs in my life
yeah,
or sound in my life.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really really related to like before you said the word, I'd said the word in my head, and you said I felt like I wasn't really living,
Mm,
and you know, like to like your fullest. And I really relate to that because when I found laughter yoga, and again I think laughter yoga just kind of came and found me, you know. Um but I was like, things were like okay, you know, like I was working as a teacher, wasn't particularly lighting me up. You know, like bimbling along with the kids and da 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 da. But I was looking for something, but I didn't really know what it was. There was definitely that seeking. I'd done a lot of like, oh, shall I train in this? Shall I add this to my skill sets? And like all the things were like, yeah. And then it was like, not, not quite the thing. Do you know what I mean? You know, like just trying to meet a need.
you up.
And yeah, 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 exactly. And then suddenly, like finding laughter yoga, I really liken it to like this kind of awakening. Like I just had this very cathartic experience in the workshop that I went to be part of, and just literally went, "Oh my God, that's the thing," you know? And yeah, didn't hadn't known what laughter yoga was before, hadn't heard of it, experienced it or anything, and had that 60-minute thing. And I just went, boom, you know? And to imagine not having that now just it just would be weird, you know? It's just, like, that's, this is what I do now, you know? And I can't imagine, yeah, I can't imagine not doing it. So it's like it's here until I am not breathing kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you find, for me, I find it's like that part of you that's it's you're being of service, and it's
Yeah.
like it's you found your role in a way, and that's
Yes.
how you're coming out into the world. That's your how you're being of service to the world through your laughter yoga, through
Yeah.
my gongs. You know, that's your yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
That's
totally agree. And actually, you know, like I really believe that we all have like
yeah,
this thing in us somewhere, and sometimes
yeah,
it's just a bit too buried and we don't find it, or sometimes it takes a little while longer and we do, or you know, and some might find it like super early on, you know. It just kind of depends on that little merry dance that we have called life, you know. But I do believe in whatever way, it can be a tiny way or a huge way, but there's this thing where we're going to be impacting the world in a way that's positive, you know. Yeah, yeah, I really feel that. And that for me, I don't know if this is like a thing for you as well, but that is it. That's why I'm just keep going with it and keep like sharing it and spreading it, and like get more and more people like on the laughter bus, you know.
I love that, the laughter bus. Have you actually got a laughter bus, Cat? And if you don't,
I
please get
re
one.
I really think I should. I tell you why it makes it really makes me laugh, because my husband and daughter were watching this thing called The Last of Us, which is not at all anything to do with laughter. And I always used to go, well, when they tell me they were watching it, I was like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "The Laughter Bus." I was like, looked at what it wasn't. I was like, "Doesn't look like a laughter bus." I said, "I know what my laughter bus," and we always laugh about it because it's this kind of like, you know, like set in the future, like the world's all gone zombie kind of mad. It was like definitely wasn't a laughter bus. And I'm like, no, I and I don't like watching stuff like that. So I'm just like,
Me
no,
neither.
like anyone that wants to get on my laughter bus, this is what we're doing.
I can see now, Cat, but you know, one of the old double-decker buses painted yellow with like sunflowers stuck all over it,
Oh
right?
gosh, yeah. So one day, Monica, one day the laughter bus is going to come into action. Would be
Yes, let's
great, wouldn't it?
manifest it now. Put it out there.
Yeah, let's put
Laughter
it out
bus.
there. Laughter
Yeah,
bus, and you can come and do sound things in it. Oh God, yeah,
yeah,
okay. Let's.
I'm in.
Yeah, well, I'm totally in. Let's, and it's already happening. Let's just presume it is, right?
Exactly. It just needs to find us now. It's on its way. The laughter bus is on its way.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to know, my darling. I know we've talked about joy and we talk about joy. In terms of joy, is joy something that you like really intentionally prioritize? You know, is it something that you're like, is joy in your radar? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, does she leap out and you're like, yeah, I'm being intentional about bringing some joy in. Like, where are you at with that?
So, yeah, great question. So I think, and that's really interesting because I think recently I have been, well, it's always in my sphere, and I think I really value laughter. I really value fun and playing games. I think if I turn this round at the kitchen table here, and there's just a stack of games. There's always a stack of games in the house, and I, in fact, there's one here that Family Fortunes is in there playing that.
Oh, I
Anyway,
love
so
that.
yeah, just love, even if it's just while waiting for dinner, like, do you want a quick game of Connect Four? Or, so the kids and I love playing games. And I've always just loved that playfulness, being playful, joking around, and that's always been a really big part of my life. But what I realized recently was I was in a workshop, and I'd realized that I'd probably been suppressing my joy a lot, suppressing my
Mm,
joy. Like, 'cause when I was really little, I must have been about 2 or 3 before I started school. I was always talking, chatting, laughing, and then I remember, when you sort of like think back and you sort of remember through photographs, I think sometimes, and then there was like and it seemed to be after starting school, and I don't know if that's nothing against school or anything, but I wonder if something happened there where you suddenly go in as this being, and then you're
mm,
kind of conditioned to fit into something.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel like uh, maybe there was a part of me that was told, in fact, I do remember being told to shush, or to,
yeah.
to be quiet, be silenced. And so I think then you think, oh, I need to be quiet to belong, or to fit in,
Mm,
or to not be abandoned, all those kind of beliefs that then start getting created. And I realized that I'd really suppressed that part of myself that was like chatty, blah, 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 laughing, because of the fear of being rejected, not being abandoned, whatever, you know, it's so deep, isn't it? You basically feel like I'm going to die because I'm going to be
mm,
rejected.
yeah.
So I've really sort of wanting to bring that part back, that little girl that's just like, there's a belief that she's too much.
Mm,
And actually she's not. She's just joyful. And she just
yeah.
wants to talk and speak and laugh. And yes, I can understand it may be annoying for people when you're like, I get that. But also, if it is, then it's up to that person as well to take the responsibility and say, because we have that as well with my kids. Sometimes I'll say, I just need a bit of space right now, or can you,
Yeah.
I do want to hear you, but I just need to, because I get it, sometimes you're not in the space to receive this kind of energy.
Mm,
So,
mm,
but also I don't want to suppress it anymore. So I can really feel it like bubbling up more unapologetically as well, and just with
yeah.
respect, but also wanting it to be there, and trusting the other to say, okay, you're a bit much now, or not even a bit much, but that's great. I'm just going to go and have a walk, or, let's do something else, or I'm finding you quite high. Could you just
Yeah.
a cup of tea with me, or, something, or maybe you need to go and ground, get your
Yeah.
feet on the grass. So yeah, so I'm noticing that and it's bringing the balance back in, because I think sometimes you
Mm,
find when you suppress something for so long, and then it comes out like, and it's almost
Yes.
like then bringing it back into balance as well. So you can just say, okay, that's
Yeah. Oh, I so get that, and thank you so much for sharing. And I imagine there'll be a ton of people listening and go, "Oh yeah, I see myself,"
mm,
because like, and like you said, it's no, not necessarily anything against school. It's just like schools have expectations of how young people are, right? And often someone might have been this kind of like big energy, and that doesn't work in assembly, and that doesn't work when we're doing maths, and doesn't work when we're doing, having been in the system for 20 years as a teacher, and also then witness my kids going through the system, like I totally get it. We are asked to, I guess, kind of water ourselves down, or like quieten ourselves down at the right moment, or like this energy is celebrated, but not right now, because it's just not do you know what I mean? So I love that you have recognized that, and like you say, unapologetically just going, "Hmm, it's
mm,
it's coming out now," and
yeah.
and I may need to rein it back in sometimes. That made me giggle
Oh,
too.
that's okay. Yeah,
And
and
that's
it's
okay.
the balance, isn't it? And just,
Totally.
understanding, yeah, being discerning with it as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and respectful, because it's also being respectful of others, and
Yes.
um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely something that I still like need to work on, is that, kind of remembering when it's maybe a bit what, and and maybe those around don't need that. It's like, oh, okay, yes, just, just a little reminder. But isn't it great that,
mm,
we like, get to feel ourselves? And I think, it's so interesting being a human, isn't it? Because I
mm,
think the most unfiltered version of ourselves is, like you're saying, that 2, 3 year old,
yeah,
probably before they've, like, gone to like preschool, anything like that. They're just being, like
mm,
jumping in a puddle and squealing is like completely their normal, or chasing a feather quietly. Doesn't have to be about noise, right? But like, but just chasing that feather and not thinking, well, is it okay if I chase the feather now? Like, am I
mm,
allowed to just follow what feels exciting? Oh, I'm
yes,
just going to lie in the grass and just do that. I like, what happens is we just get all these layers on, don't we? Of like, well, maybe it's not, or maybe it's the wrong time for me to lie in the grass, or like, oh, have I got time to chase the feather, or am I jumping in that puddle too noisily? In fact, oh, I can't jump in a puddle because I'm, 25, 35, 45. Do you know what I mean? All those things. And I think the more we can journey back to that 2, 3 year old, like, just the freer we
yeah,
feel.
yeah, and even just holding that feeling in your heart. So, like you say, you can have that like real surge of excitement of like, without needing it to be like super loud, or
Yeah,
it can just be like, oh, that's so exciting, and just feeling the excitement.
yeah.
um and yeah, it's,
It's
yeah,
permission,
having the
isn't it?
awareness of it, I think. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, permission to like, to like, allow that to feel exciting, And it's that thing where I said earlier about joy. We can say, oh, joy has to be huge and like celebratory, and like, maybe a big wedding, or a special birthday, or a job promotion, or do you know what I mean? Like, very occasion based. But actually, if we see joy as chasing a feather that's blowing in the breeze, and like the sunlight's dancing on it, or getting our toes on the grass outside, like today as we're recording this, we both said it's like really sunny, like bare feet on the grass, and like, that's just like utter joy. But
you know
it's
what it
not,
almost is.
yeah,
It's like lifting that little girl up, or that little child within you up, so they can see out of the window of life and actually enjoy the process with you, instead of keeping that part of you in a locked up
yeah.
room. It's just like saying, hey, you
Oh,
can have a look out, and join in with this, and having her or him with you and being able to experience life.
Yeah, that gave me a little shiver as you said that actually. That was such a, I could really visualize, and I was looking at your face as well, and your face really lit up as you said it. Like that's just so beautiful, isn't it? You
Mm,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And this is the thing, just that real kind of that allowing of self in whatever way it feels good. So allowing that little person to be seen
Mm,
again and
yeah.
and feeling that excitement. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mm.
yeah, a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And actually, you must find this a lot, Kat, with laughter yoga, because I guess you use the voice. And I've noticed working with the voice recently, doing qigong, mixing, bringing the throat chakra in. And sometimes, well, not sometimes,
Right.
always with qigong, there's an exercise that you do where you stimulate the vagus nerve here. And I say, I invite you to bring any sounds in. And it's really interesting how well, I say hardly anyone, that people do, but it's a lot of the time you can feel such a resistance to making
Mm.
sound. And you think it doesn't have to be loud, but just any sound, there's a real resistance to.
Yeah.
So I think, so you must find when people laugh, that must unlock a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting you share that actually, because I was just sharing at the weekend, and yeah, and this does come up, and what I found this year particularly, and I think it's as the more we share our modality of whatever it is, like the deeper we go ourselves, don't we? And so more and more kind of unlocks and comes through, I think. And I have brought, obviously, laughter yoga is all around laughter. However, I have brought in much more of my own sound in this last year, maybe last year as well with the festivals. It's like it all kind of becomes a bit blurry, but at the weekend, I was saying to the people in the room, I said, we're doing laughter, but if you feel other sounds coming through, like just allow them. And someone just went, whoa, yeah. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I said, because so often, like you say, we go,
Yeah.
mm. And I think it's that kind of it's like the too muchness, or is it the right time, right place? Am I allowed? All that kind of thing around, like, like all permission around, is it okay? And I'm like, actually, so often we there's probably sound we want to get out, but we hold it back. So I really do encourage in my spaces now, if you've got other sounds like like whatever noise, someone might just have a little cheer for themselves, or just a like a whoa, or I'm just like, just
Yeah.
allow, because for me it's become a lot more part of the process with the laughter, because
Yeah.
the laughter essentially is you going back to that little person. I bring like children in as an analogy quite a lot, that whole full self being allowed into the room in play, like you're saying, like allowing that play, and whatever that play looks and feels like. So often with kids, not always, but so often with kids, there is like sound involved,
Yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah,
Their
definitely.
noises, the noises, they're like the things they're picking up that create the noise, or the sound that comes from there, the pleasure. Do you know what I mean? It's
It's
yeah.
all part of the learning, I think, and the developing. Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, I love
yeah,
hearing that. Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
actually,
and
interestingly, no, go on.
no, 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 you go, you go.
Interestingly, I don't know if there's a delay, but
Yeah.
when you spoke then about the permission and just allowing people to make different sounds, that really hit something. And there's a quote actually I found this morning that I put in a group that I'm just going to read out, because I was thinking with that permission and that little child, you're always looking outwards for that permission, and looking up, like, can I? It's that looking for the permission. And this quote I saw said, your own level of self acceptance is determined largely by how well you feel you are accepted by the important people in your life. And I read it and I thought, wow, something really hits you,
Mm,
and you think, you look outward so much about, oh, is this like with the permission? How am I
Yeah,
accept the acceptance of like, is it acceptable to make this noise? Is it acceptable to say this thing? Is it acceptable to laugh? Is it acceptable to, and
yeah,
it's always out here and you think actually it's, and you know, parents, teachers, when you're little, everyone that's taller than you or bigger than you see as an authority figure, I suppose, and take that in. And it's like, wow, trying to reverse that to actually
yeah,
bring that self-acceptance in, and that permission. So you don't have to look outside, you can just say, it's okay.
yeah.
It's
That's a
enough.
key part of what I teach with laughter yoga. My kind of what the biggest takeaway I want people to have with it is about validation coming from within. You know,
Yeah.
I teach that we're laughing, but it's another level. This is like the vessel. This is our way into not outsourcing and looking
Yeah.
outside of ourselves for, is it okay? Am I okay? Am I enough? Am I not enough? Am I too much? Am I too little? Am I, all the am I? And they can be like complete opposites, and us, do you know what I mean? And are still kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like still wondering. And I really encourage using laughter as a tool to accept yourself, as a tool
Mm.
for permission, because I think when we bring in play, when we bring in that kind of that sense of childlike ease, it is kind of freedom, you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
which,
for sure.
like, oh, isn't that a
Yeah.
gift?
I know. So it's just even heart opening, just hearing that word. That, yeah, definitely.
Totally,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
I'd love to know, my darling, because I always think it's brilliant for people to hear other people's like ideas around it. But like when you think of your joy givers, what are your go-to joy givers? Where do you find the pockets of joy, the things that just go, yay, smile on face? What, yeah, yeah, just like you've just done.
So definitely the having playing games with the kids, that's, you know, for
Mm,
sure. Even if sometimes, you know, that we can argue as well, it's
yeah.
still fundamentally, it's still joy. Even the arguing about it is joyful, you know, it's that sort of connection. I think connections bring me a lot of joy. um Taking the dog out for a walk in
Mm,
nature,
mm,
and also I think for me it's really the, and again bringing me back to that childlike part, it's the really simple things, and taking time to enjoy the simple things like making myself a nice coffee and trying to do
mm.
some latte art, and you know, the sort of creativity bits, and maybe failing, and then if I if I fail with the latte art, I just end up making a snowman all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a snowman again. It's a snowman. And just laughing at that, you know, and just, yeah, I think for me laughter is so important, and just finding people that you can laugh with and have and muck around with. I think sometimes even just, you know, being playing around with somebody when you're out or something. I went out with a friend recently and we went to Richmond. There was a statue and we just had to go, you know, sit there and pull silly faces and poses, and you know, even things like that, just that just brings joy. And yeah, so
Oh, I love that.
yeah,
I love that.
connections, nature, the little things, and
Yeah.
seeing everything through a playful lens, I think sometimes as well, and because you can bring joy into anything, can't you? I think you just have to look through a different lens.
Yeah, absolutely. And like all those things you've shared, they're little pieces, aren't they? And
Mm.
that's exactly the point, isn't it? Of like we can find like joy in making your latte art, like you said, like just, just that simple thing of like you can find joy in just like I'm just gonna sit and have a hot drink and just nothing else, It's like it's how we want to look, like you say, like, if we want to put that lens on of I'm going to choose to find joy, we will find it. And I think equally, if we put a lens on of I'm going to look for the things that aren't great and the lack and the complaining or that's what we will see. And I think life is busy. Life is, you know, like there's a lot of seriousness, there's a lot of stuff in the world which can feel like really awful for our energy. And I think it's such an invitation for us as a whole collective to find these moments even more, because that energy will just ripple out, ripple out, ripple out, and there's, you know, many people that need to feel that. Do you know what I mean? So I think, you know,
Yeah,
we can get
yeah,
caught up in that stuff. But
yeah,
I think for me, it's an invitation to not to really like rise above and like, what can I put out there? What can we lift as a collective, you know?
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I really hear you, and I think yeah, recently even I've been doing my best to be aware of what's coming out, you know, and I always see it as I want it to be coming out through my heart. And I joke with one of my friends and I say, right, I'm going to send you a love bomb. And I'll say, okay, sit down. And oh, I'll do it on you, Kat. Are you ready? Let's do it on you. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're already sitting down. So close your eyes.
Oh gosh, I didn't know this was going to happen. Wonderful. I'm
Okay.
so
And
excited. Yay.
just, and just take a few deep breaths. And then what I do is I just imagine in the center of my heart, I'm just charging up a little ball of love, and it's just going, and it's charging, 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 and it's about to come your way. So get ready. It's going to come from my heart into yours. Here we go, charging. Okay, and then I'm going to send you a big love bomb. So I'm going to breathe in, sending out love into your heart. So
Oh,
even just little things like that.
ah, I love it. I love that. That's that, like in that really simple thing. It's not simplistic, right? Because
Yeah.
that was all about taking. I can feel like my body is like it's got these beautiful ripples, right? It's intentionality.
Yeah.
Okay, it is just taking a moment. How long was that? 30 seconds. You
Yeah.
know, and this is a thing we can run narratives of I don't have time and da da da. But actually, if we are intentional with our word, with our language, with our actions, with our voices, we can
Definitely.
definitely raise the energy of like the whole world. I believe, you know, that's why I keep doing what I'm doing, because I really believe there's more of us that can do it than that don't want to or can't, or you know, there's much more light. So just little indications like that are just beautiful. That feels like the perfect moment for us to share some laughter, actually, my darling. So
Okay.
I would love us to do some laughter breaths. You up for that? Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Amazing. So I'll talk you through it first. All we're going to do, and anyone listening, I'd love you to join in as well, and just like notice how you feel, like much like the love bomb that
Yeah.
Monica shared with me. Hopefully you like joined into and like felt that too. Just like notice with all of these things, just notice how you feel. You know, notice how your body is feeling the energy within it. So yeah, because like we can shift things. We are much more powerful than we perhaps believe ourselves to be, right? So we're gonna in a mode take a breath in, and then when we breathe out, we're just gonna laugh. Okay. And I always laugh when I say that because I have rewired my brain. And so it just goes, oh, we're doing that again. And it gets a bit excited. So let's take a breath in and then let's exhale with laughter.
You can't not laugh with your cat, honestly. Um,
Oh, I love it. Let's go again. Breathing
okay.
in and exhaling.
Oh,
And I love rounds of three. So let's do one more, no
okay.
more. So breath in and big exhale.
Seeing your nose all crinkled up as well, cracking me up. Oh my gosh.
Oh, like so how does your body feel from like just 3 rounds of laughter? Can you feel that shift, that energy?
Yeah, lighter, um, and just yeah,
Yeah,
lighter,
you
more
definitely feel it in your you just went to your
yeah,
cheeks and you can really
yes,
feel it in your cheeks. And
Yeah.
this is, it's much like you shared with love bombing and that whole piece of when we're intentional,
Mm.
we can shift our state, we can shift the state of those around us,
Yeah.
So you can share intentional laughter with yourself, you can share intentional laughter with those you love, you can share intentional laughter with people that you work with, right? and
Mm.
and and what you're going to do is you will shift what you're bringing to whatever you're doing. So, maybe if you've got like a meeting that's been making you feel nervous or a bit stressed, like your energy will shift that little bit more towards who you want to be in that meeting. Perhaps if you've got a difficult conversation you need to have with a loved one, right? So do that before and then feel a bit more grounded, feel a bit more, empowered in what it is that you want to share, and this is why I share with laughter. I think out of the modalities that are around, I think laughter yoga can be looked on as a bit flippant or a bit what's the other word I often use? It's completely gone out my head. But flippant is probably the easiest one. Like, oh, we're just having a bit of a laugh, that, do you know what I mean? Whereas people get like sounds and breath and it's like it's deeper, and but actually laughter is super deep. And when
Yeah.
you do a laughter yoga practice, like you get the depth like with all the other modalities. It's just in a different
Another way
vessel.
in. It's
Yeah,
just another way in, isn't it? Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think, you know, like I am on the planet to educate people around that. That's why when I was sharing about that, like that was what the awakening was. It was like you're here to do something really specific with it, so
Mm.
people understand that you can use the breath, you can use movement, you can use sound, you can use laughter to heal yourself, to feel more empowered, to feel like that little person who's maybe been stuck inside under about 90 different layers for whatever reason, like let them kind of come out again. It's, yeah,
Yeah, no, I love that. And I also think it's that choice, isn't it? Bringing the choice in that you always have a choice to react or respond, and just to have that awareness of, okay, how do I want to show up? And then you can just bring yourself into that space. And I think for me, the laughter is in the heart, isn't it? 'Cause
yeah,
it just bubbles out. So yeah, bringing yourself into that place of like the love, the heart, the laughter, and going from there. Yeah,
yeah.
totally, totally hear you.
Totally. Oh,
Amazing.
I've got one more question I'd love to ask you before we wrap up. It's like it's quite a biggie.
Mm. Mm. Yes, I will
But
marry you.
I love thinking about this. And I've asked a couple of people on the pod, not lots of people, but sometimes I just go, oh, I just want to ask it, and I definitely want to ask with you. I was just like, oh yeah, Monica's the right person. But I would love to know, when you think about Monica now, right here, right now, like what's one thing that has helped you to get to where you are right now, to be who you are right now? And I know one thing's tricky, so like you can
Mm.
absolutely change that and go, actually it's lots of things. But if
Okay.
something if something pings out, like, because someone listening might just hear something you say and it really like flick a switch, and that's what I love about the question.
Oh my goodness, that is a quite a yeah. Because I suppose the default answer would be sound, right?
Yeah.
But actually, I think everything is a doorway, is a corridor into something. So I think for me, the biggest thing is um, I think having really working on awareness for myself, and whether that's through sound, whether that's through being out in nature, just listening, just stopping and kind of going, okay, what's going on? Where's this coming from? Can
Mm,
I push that away? And can I come back into here instead of being in the, all of that stuff, the conditioning, all of this stuff. So I think the biggest thing is cultivating more awareness by just
Yeah.
stopping and being curious and observing. Sometimes I miss it, sometimes you're in something and you're like, whatever it is, and you're
Yeah, yeah.
the drama or the pity party for one, with the old and the hat on, and that's fine, and it's difficult to see. But I think, yeah, the awareness for me is the biggest thing.
Mm,
Massive. Having more awareness and without judgment, just curiosity. So just that witness, bringing myself out into that witness space. And I think meditation, that silent space, whether that's through, and you can meditate with laughter. I think meditation is misconstrued as you have to sit in a dark room by yourself
yeah.
and with your eyes shut, and you don't have to. It's meditation is moving or laughing or with sound or whatever it is. So yeah, so I'd say that space to
Yeah.
cultivate more awareness. Is
Oh,
that,
yeah. I think that's amazing, and I totally get it. And that whole the piece around being curious, getting out the head, having a listen, being okay about getting it wrong and not being able to have a listen, because like putting that judgment, like you say, over there, because it's never going to help us, but like criticizing ourselves, but that awareness, what's going on, what do I need, you know, like, it's so important, isn't it? And I
yeah,
think the
getting out of the
headspace,
mind?
yeah, gets so busy, doesn't it? So it's like, oh, what's my body guiding you toward me towards? And like I really didn't understand a few years ago before I kind of deepened into this work, this whole listen to your body. I just didn't understand. I was like, how, but it's like anything, we can develop the practice, right?
Yeah.
By giving ourselves the pause, the time, the whatever to just drop out of here in our heads and into here. Like
Mm,
you can listen and
yeah.
follow what feels good. And this is what I think is so wonderful about anything that any of us are doing. Like it's never too late,
Never.
and like it's available, like if you're curious,
Yeah.
and give yourself like patience and kindness,
Mm,
as you like work through it and learn. But if you're willing, like you'll
yeah.
definitely like receive from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also, I think every moment is a new beginning.
yeah,
So letting go constantly of like, okay, now, 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 and that bringing yourself into the now as well. Of doesn't matter what
yeah.
happened last week or 20 years ago. Now I can be here right now for myself and choose now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Every day is a new day, right? And in fact, and if the day started wonky, we can start again,
Yeah.
and just that kind of like, oh, that's
Yeah.
okay, because
Yeah.
otherwise we can write off a whole week,
Mm.
a whole whatever, can't we? And time is precious. So
Shift of
allowing,
perception as well,
yeah,
isn't it? So even if it is, like you say, started wonky, actually, maybe that wonkiness is going to lead to greater joy later. So it's kind of
yeah,
everything is a lesson. Everything is like, okay, that was interesting. And it's taking out that weight of judgment, isn't it? Of like,
mm,
it just is. And it's like, okay, that meant that led to this, which has taught me this. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
again, it's that
We're
practice of
always learning, aren't we? We're always learning. And I think, like,
continuously.
yeah, yeah. And being open to that is like a gift in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Monica, darling, like we could spend the week doing this. It's just amazing. You're such a wonderful, warm-hearted, gorgeous soul, and I'm so grateful that we have got into each other's worlds and got to meet each other in real life. And that's probably the greatest gift I've found since I left my old life of teaching and into this. I've met so many wonderful humans and had so many rich and nourishing conversations. And none of it is about getting it right and perfect. It's all about just being ourselves and like loving ourselves in like the messy bits along the way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Deepening into life so we can actually, yeah, enjoy all the different experiences that come the way, whether they're this or that, or it's not even labeling them. It just
Yeah,
is. That's all
this
a
is.
part of it, and having a
Yeah.
richer experience, I think, isn't it? And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Oh, my darling, it's been such a
it's so
pleasure.
amazing.
Oh, it's been so gorgeous. Before we wrap up, I would love you to obviously I'll put your details in the show notes so people can get hold of you. But before we wrap up, is there anything you would love to share with anyone? Anything you've got going on that people might be curious about? Yeah, whatever feels good, my darling.
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, just to say thank you. You're amazing, and you are such an inspiration. And yeah, please carry on doing what you're doing.
Thank
Turn
you,
the volume up
darling.
because, yeah,
I
to
received that.
11.
Thank you.
um, yes, it's been lovely to be here and chat to you, and I could stay all day. So, what do I want to share? I guess just to say, I do lots of events around Berkshire. If you're in the vicinity, it'd be wonderful to see you. And then, yeah, keep an eye on my website. And if you feel called to come and enjoy some sound, it'd be wonderful to have you there. And Qigong.
Amazing. And I'm sure, yeah, and I'm sure if anyone's got any questions, then
Oh,
your
yes, yeah.
DMs, emails completely open. So yeah, ask any questions that you want to ask Monica to do with sound and her gorgeous, gorgeous deliveries. You may get a load of people going, get me on the Lilos.
Yeah.
Depends what season
Please
it is
reach
when they
out. That's
listen.
coming,
Yeah.
yeah, next year. That'll be back next year. So yeah, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, my darling, you have been such a joy, and I am super, super grateful. Thank you so much, my love.
Thank you. Thank you so much.